What does the word begotten mean in Psalm 2 verse 7? Does it mean that Jesus was a created person? Answer to this coming up. Hello, Pastor Georgy here from Pointer to Eternity, and welcome back to another Q&A. Sometime back we had done a video on is Jesus God, Son of God, or a prophet? By the way, I will give that link in the description below. One of the questions that people had asked was, according to Psalm 2 verse 7, is Jesus a created person? Psalm 2 verse 7 says, I'll declare the decree. The Lord has said to me, you are my son, today I have begotten you. So looking at that word begotten, some people may ask, was Jesus created? So first we need to look at what that passage meant. What is seen in Psalm 2 is that the psalm is a psalm of hope. Amidst the enemy kings surrounding Israel, God appoints a king in the Davidic line in a way that other rebellious kings should submit to God, and also this anointed king of God in order to avoid divine judgment. But as time passed, as the Israelite kings also did evil in the sight of the Lord, the hope shifted towards a future where a Davidic king will come and establish true order. So what does that word begotten in Psalm 2 verse 7 mean in the original Old Testament language? See, according to Brown Driver Briggs Hebrew English Lexicon, the root word for that word begotten is yaleth, which means to bear, bring forth, beget. So looking at just that meaning and attributing it to the messianic hope, we may think that Jesus is a created person. But begotten in Psalm 2 verse 7 is better explained by scripture itself. For that we have to look at the New Testament explanations about that verse, because that psalm's full meaning is understood in light of the New Testament revelation. See, that verse, Psalm 2 verse 7, is quoted in Acts chapter 13 verse 33, Hebrews chapter 1 verse 5, chapter 5 verse 5. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 5 and chapter 5 verse 5 merely quote Psalm 2 verse 7. Acts 13 verse 33 alone gives the explanation. Let us look at how this verse is explained in Acts chapter 13 verses 30 through 34, specifically verse 33 where it is quoted. But God raised him from the dead. He was seen for many days by those who came up with him from Galilee to Jerusalem, who are his witnesses to the people. And we declare to you glad tidings, that promise which was made to the fathers. God has fulfilled this for us, their children, in that he raised up Jesus. As it is also written in the second Psalm, you are my son, today I have begotten you. And that he raised him from the dead, no more to return to corruption. He has spoken thus, I'll give you the sure mercies of David. So you saw that word begotten in verse 33. That word begotten comes from the Greek root word genao, which means to beget, bring forth, begotten. And that root word genao is seen only 4 times in the New Testament. Acts chapter 13 verse 33, Philemon 10, Hebrews chapter 1 verse 5, and chapter 5 verse 5. And according to Thayer's Greek English lexicon of the New Testament, specifically the word here points to God showing Jesus to be the Messiah through his resurrection. So God the Father is talking about bringing forth Jesus out of the grave after his death on the cross. So this New Testament passage throws light on Psalm 2 verse 7, implying that it was a prophecy about Jesus' resurrection from the grave. And along with that, the word seen for begotten is gegeneika, which is the perfect tense of genao. So it points to a completed action in the past and had continuing effect to the time when Acts chapter 13 verse 33 was written. So in other words, Jesus' resurrection was certain that it was spoken of as having already occurred. You see, we need to see this from God's perspective, because for God there is no yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He sees everything in one go, that is eternity. Time as such, the dimension of time, was created for humanity. God is operating outside the dimension of time. He sees everything, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, all from eternity in one shot. And at the same time, the word begotten is seen as another Greek word coming from its root word, monogenes, seen only 5 times in the New Testament. John chapter 1 verse 14, John chapter 3 verse 16, chapter 3 verse 18, Hebrews chapter 11 verse 17, 1 John chapter 4 verse 9. So in those verses, the word monogenes, translated as only begotten, means that Jesus is the unique Son or the one and only Son. So there are 2 important Greek words that are translated as begotten in the New Testament. And this can be confusing, and that's why some cults misinterpret this and say that Jesus was created, which is heretical. So what does Psalm 2 verse 7 say? It simply means that Jesus is our God who was begotten or resurrected from the grave. Hope this was a blessing to you. God bless you. And by the way, if you are blessed by this message, be sure to hit that like button, and also if you are not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe by pressing that subscribe button and also pressing that bell notification, so that you would continue to receive blessed messages and updates like this on this same channel.